Hi, my name is Travis Henline. I'm the site manager here at West Virginia Independence Hall. We're here on the first floor of the building. Now, originally, this first floor of the building, when completed in 1859, was to serve as the post office for this region. Now, we today take for granted that we have regular postal service, but in the mid-19th century, postal service was a new thing. And so this first floor was dedicated to that purpose. Now today we have this exhibited with a Civil War exhibit, West Virginia Born of the Civil War. We have various exhibits which detail West Virginia's involvement in the Civil War and its formation as a new state because of the Civil War. And our main focus in our building is to interpret West Virginia and the Civil War and West Virginia statehood. We have exhibits which deal with the Confederate aspect of the conflict as well as the Union aspect of the conflict. We have an interpretive video that we show visitors when they first arrive to orient them to the building and to the history of the site and the period. One of the great stories here at West Virginia Independence Hall is the building itself. When it was completed in 1859, it was really an innovative building for its period. The entire infrastructure of this building is constructed of iron I-beams, hand-cut sandstone, and concrete. So it's a very solid building. And the way that it was constructed with iron I-beams would become the precursor to the way that skyscrapers would later be built. But one of the other innovative functions new to this period and to this building were these columns you see I'm standing beside. There are 4 here in the center of the building. They run completely through the building from the basement up into the 3rd floor. And these are hollow iron columns. That is because one of them was an air intake. It would take air down from the outside to the boiler, a coal boiler, which was located in the basement. The other 3 columns had this heated air shot through them so that they would radiate heat into the building. And that was really an innovative thing during the 1850s. Now, other innovative aspects of the building are that this was one of the first buildings to make use of gas lighting. We do have gas lighting all the way throughout the building. But also the first water closets in all of Wheeling, the first flush toilets in the city of Wheeling were right here in this building, West Virginia Independence Hall. Now, many of the spaces here in West Virginia Independence Hall were restored to their original 19th century condition, and this is one of those spaces. We are in the office of Governor Francis H. Pierpont. He was the governor of the restored government of Virginia. Now, this restored government of Virginia was formed following the Richmond Convention, which had voted for secession from the Union to join the Confederacy. And the gentlemen who were from the western counties of Virginia, several of them delegates to the convention here in this building, met here in convention, formed this new restored government of Virginia, which was the government of Virginia loyal to the Union, to the United States and the Constitution. And as part of this restored government of Virginia, they elected Francis H. Pierpont of Marion County, West Virginia, as their governor. Now, we're very proud in this space to have the governor's original desk that you see behind me. This was the desk that he used when this served as the capital of the restored government of Virginia from 1861 until 1863. And so the items you see are original to the 19th century. As I said, the desk was his desk. This was the desk he used when he served as governor of the restored government of Virginia. And also we have a corner cupboard that was also his. And while we're in this space, I want to take a moment to point out a very important architectural feature of our building, and that would be the shutters you see behind me. Now, they appear as wood, but they are actually grained. That is, they are painted to look like wood, but they are in fact iron, solid iron. All the shutters in the building are solid iron, as are all the exterior doors. And the reason for that was that this building was home to the custom office. And the custom office dealt in a great deal of money. And so this building, number one, had to be secured, but also in its construction and formation, it was built to be as fireproof as possible. And the shutters, the iron shutters and exterior doors help in that respect as well. Another one of the spaces in the building that we have restored and exhibited as was original in the 1860s was the Office of the Surveyor of Customs, which is the office we're in right now. Now, in 1831, Wheeling became a port of entry And that was very important for the city as it allowed foreign goods to be transferred here and distributed from here. And it also necessitated that there be a custom officer. And in fact, when this building was originally built, it was known as the Custom House. And now the custom officer would collect money on tariffs and duties, and those will be stored here, actually in the vault that you see behind me. Now, this vault has a very interesting story connected to it as well. At one point, this building was broken into by two individuals, two men, and they attempted to rob the safe. Now, they bored through the side of the wall for the safe. They didn't make it quite all the way through. They made it to the point where they could see the money, almost touch the money, but could not get to it. And at that point, there was about $1 million, $1.25 million being stored in the vault, which in the 19th century was quite a bit of money. They gave up their quest for the money and shimmied out the second-story window. And later on, it was found that they had a liquor bottle, which they had been drinking with one drink left in it while they pursued their break-in. But also, in subsequent years, research revealed that there had been a work order placed for the lock on the vault. And so we can speculate that perhaps the vault itself, during the attempted robbery, may have been unlocked in the first place. The first West Virginia state historian, Virgil Lewis, once wrote that the most sacred relics that any state can possess are its battle flags. And that is why we are very proud here at West Virginia Independence Hall to be the showcase for 13 19th century Civil War battle flags, all from West Virginia troops from various parts of our state. Some of these flags were carried in major battles, and we have them in a brand new exhibit here on the second floor. Now, across the hall from our flag exhibit is our flag discovery room, and we have it set up mostly for school children, but also for anyone who is interested. In this room, you learn a little bit more about flag restoration and preservation, but you also have a chance to do some interactive things. We have some kiosks set up that have interactive displays where children can take a pop quiz and earn a rank in the Union Army based on their performance. We have an area where they can construct their own flags based upon what flags from the period look like and the meaning behind the symbols on the flag. And so it is a nice way for children and others to have an interactive experience with our flags. We're standing here in the third floor courtroom at West Virginia Independence Hall, and for West Virginians, this is somewhat of a sacred space. In fact, this is the very birthplace of the state of West Virginia. Now, in 1861 and 1862, a number of very important events happened right here in this space. The Declaration of the People of Virginia was presented here to the delegates from the western counties. Now, this is considered our West Virginia Declaration of Independence, introduced in this space, signed by the delegates in this space. Also, this is the space where the restored government of Virginia, that is the government loyal to the Union, was formed, and H Pierpont elected governor here in this space. Also, very importantly, this is the place where the West Virginia State Constitution was written, debated, amended, and eventually signed off on. All those things taken together, we consider this space and this building the birthplace of the state of West Virginia. Another important space and another important person that we have here on the third floor is Judge John J. Jackson, Jr. And his office we have restored and exhibited in the back of the third floor. His story is very typical of what many families went through during the Civil War, a time of tough choices, a time of divisiveness, not only within our state, but also among our families here in West Virginia. John J. Jackson was the first cousin of Confederate General Thomas Jonathan Stonewall Jackson that many people are familiar with. So here you have one Jackson who is serving as a member to this convention for the new Union state of West Virginia and is a judge in the district court here who actually tried people for treason during the war. Now, across in the Shenandoah Valley, you have his first cousin. They were actually born in the very same year. They were the same age and grew up only 50 miles apart in West Virginia. But his first cousin, Thomas Jonathan Stonewall Jackson, is in the Shenandoah Valley leading a Confederate army. So this is a great example of how our state, our families were divided because of this conflict. Now, as we have seen thus far, West Virginia Independence Hall is a first-class museum with very important exhibits, but also it is a historic site in which we hold several events throughout the year. We have various programs that we produce here for children, for families, for school groups, for continuing education groups, for Boy Scout troops. And so this is a very important place for people to come and to learn and to have an enjoyable learning experience. In the forthcoming years here at West Virginia Independence Hall, we are going through some major renovations to our building and to our programs and exhibits, so that in the very near future, visitors to West Virginia Independence Hall, particularly young children, will have a more interactive, more engaging experience with our building and our museum.